Scripture teaches that whatever your hands find to do, do it with all of your heart and with all of your strength. Hello, good people. This is Stella, your host on the Family Enrichment Hub, your center for family learning and for growth. I'm delighted to be continuing our series on virtues that we need to teach our children within our households. Today, I want to be speaking to us the importance of teaching our children the virtue of work through learning, household chores, and activities. We've all heard countless stories of couples who have struggled in their family life because a spouse cannot wash clothes. A spouse cannot even wash their own undergarments. A spouse cannot do any kind of cooking. They cannot even help with changing a child's diaper. These stories abound within our society, and it speaks to the fact that a parent, a caretaker, a caregiver did not do the right training and instilling the virtue of children learning to work within their households. And in a time like now we are living in, when many parents are actively employed and busy in their different workspaces, house helps have actually become a part of daily societal and family life. And it's no wonder that children who are growing up without knowing how to do work within the household is actually a growing and a worrying trend. Worse still, house helps are paid at the household level. And because parents pay domestic servants to execute the domestic activities within the households, it's not surprising that there are many parents who are not comfortable to see their children participate in the household activities. Why? Because they believe that is the space of the domestic servants whom they have paid. And in the long run, because of the rigors that the domestic servants have to go through on a daily basis, executing the household activities, they end up running better and managing family life in an excellent manner because they have gone through the training of household chores in the different spaces where they've been working. And then the children that have been raised in the household, they're actually the ones who end up struggling within their families. What are the consequences of not teaching our children the virtue and the ethic of work? Remember, when you're raising your children, let's be mindful that we are actually raising somebody's wife, you're raising somebody's husband, you're raising a future father, you're raising a future mother. And so when you do an excellent job of training your child, society is going to benefit. Their family is going to be the first beneficiary of the work that you did. And so society will benefit from a child who understands the importance of work. And on the flip side, when you fold your hands as a parent and do not teach your children how to do work, starting from house chores within your family, society is going to be at a loss. And your child's family is also going to stand to lose. You're going to live a very shameful life if your child grows up without knowing how to do chores. Those are the ones whom you hear, they pile up their undies and inner garments, they use them and pile for a week or 2 weeks, and then over the weekends, they hand them over to the domestic servants to help them and wash them. That is a very shameful way of living. Another consequence of not teaching your children to do work starting from the household is that they're going to make restaurants, outside catering places, their second home because they are dependent on others for basic survival of even just cooking their own food. Your child who has not learned to do work right from home is going to live on the terms of others because ideally they are totally dependent on another person for basic survival, for things like washing, for things like cooking, for things like washing their clothes and ironing they cannot handle, and so they are always dependent on somebody being around them. Ideally, they cannot live on their own. And that category of children, when they enter marriage, they are going to suffer spousal manipulation because they are totally dependent on their partner. And so their partner will always be putting them on gunpoint. The partner will always wake up and say, I'm tired of this relationship. I need to leave. I need to walk out. And so because you're on the begging side, you'll end up always compromising, always yielding, even to demands which are not realistic from your partner, because you cannot live without them, because they are the ones who are executing for you all the household activities. A child who is raised up without knowing how to do household chores is a headache to their spouse. They are burdensome every time, and they are a poor example to emulate. How will you even teach your children how to do work when they do not see you participating in an activity? They do not see you do any house chore. You have not shown them the right way. And so how are you going to teach them what you yourself do not do? And like I keep saying here, that the best training is the one that you model for your children. Your children are going to do exactly as they see you do. So when they see you folding your hands, they're also going to grow up and the pattern will continue. They'll also fold their hands and not do anything where teaching of their children is concerned. It's worth appreciating that it's our duty as parents to teach and train our children to appreciate work. It's not the role of your child's partner to train them and teach them on how to do work. When you raise up a child who cannot participate in household activities, you have failed as a parent. You failed the society, you have failed yourself, and you have failed your child's partner. Like scripture tells us that if you spare the rod, you're going to spoil your child. When it comes to work, if you fold your hands and just lay back and not teach your child how to do work, starting from the activities within the household, you're going to stand to lose. You're raising a burden for the society. Allow me to conclude with this. Work is of God, and true prosperity and progress can only be achieved in life when we instill the virtue and the ethic of work within our children. May we raise children who are going to be a blessing and not a burden to the society. The choice is in our hands as parents. Thank you, friends, for listening in. Kindly share widely, for this is how we shall transform our society through the family. God bless you. Catch you in 2 weeks' time again. Bye.